My people, first of all, sorry about the sound. It's not very clear today, but it's okay. I know we're together. It's a technical issue, but we're going to have it resolved as soon as possible. Right? Now, I appreciate you. You know, I love you. This is family. It's where we come together to have a discussion. Sometimes we bash each other. Sometimes it's humorous. Sometimes it's very serious. Well, this is very interesting. But before I start, let me put it this way for you. Have you ever been in a situation with somebody where you sort of argue about a subject and it goes south? It gets sour very quickly and people feel offended. Even though you know you were right in that circumstance, but you choose peace and you say sorry. The objective was to find peace. You don't want to argue about who's right, who's wrong, even though logically you were right. Have you ever experienced that before? And then after saying, I'm sorry, my friend, they go like, yeah, you know, you always do that. No, that is not good enough. You need to say sorry properly. You know, you need to stand up your chair and say you're sorry because what you just did there is unacceptable. But let's get back to track. You were right in the situation. The reason why you say you're sorry is because you actually want to find peace. Because there are many people like that. They don't want to argue unnecessarily about things. But then when you say sorry, instead of saying, okay, brother, let's move on, they go like, no, I don't like that because even the way you're saying sorry doesn't look like you mean it. You need to stand up and say sorry appropriately. And they stand up and they leave. Then you're like, this guy is not okay. You know what I mean? I've experienced this before by myself. And I decided never to say sorry again when you know you're right. I'm sorry, I know it may sound some kind of way. But the problem is if you're dealing with somebody mature, they understand that peace is better than arguments that are absolutely stupid. But sometimes you meet people that are not necessarily matured enough. And they think that's an incentive to continue doing wrong. I mean, if somebody makes the toilets dirty and you say to them, why is the toilet dirty? Then they go, why are you screaming at me? Why are you talking to me this way? Why are you speaking to me sideways? They're pushing you away from the issue, which is the toilet is dirty. You left it dirty. You should have cleaned it. And you say sorry. When you say sorry, you are reinforcing them from keeping the toilets dirty because if they're mature, they say, okay, maybe the point was correct. The toilet was dirty. But immature people will reinforce their mentality, say, okay, so from now on, I can keep the toilet dirty. If he speaks to me, I just have to scream and he's going to say sorry. Right? Well, fellas, in Zimbabwe, they decided to pay the farmers. I think we had this discussion, right? The Zimbabwean government decided to pay an equivalent of $3.5 billion to white farmers that had lost their land, white people's land, in Zimbabwe. Farming land, okay? And what has occurred, most of the farmers have refused the money Zimbabwe's offering. Yes, crazy stuff, absolutely crazy stuff. So let me give you context. Zimbabwe has decided to pay the farmers who lost their farms.
Compensation of farmers who are governed by the BIPA arrangements. This is bilateral protection and investment promotion agreements. This compensation is enshrined in the Constitution. And we're just honoring what is already in the Constitution, and they're being compensated for both improvements on the land and the land itself, because they brought in their investments into the country. So this is compensation for the whole investment.
The farms were in Zimbabwe. We're going to get into how did they get the farms. After losing the farm 20 years ago, the Zimbabwean government has decided to pay them money for the farm they had lost. Supposedly not for the farm, but for the improvements they made on the farm. That's actually Zimbabwe. Now, after offering $3.5 billion, the payment started. The first batch was $308 million to a few farmers. Now, the farmers, the majority, about over 80% have refused the money. And perhaps 17% say, okay, the 17% surely are the people that are going through difficulties, you know. When you ain't got no money, when you ain't got no money, you don't say no to money. Yeah. It's those cases. But the farmers that are standing their feet, standing their ground, and still have some money have said, no, we don't want that. Our farms are worth much more than that.
You see, when this global compensation deed was signed, one of the issues was a number of farmers, a few hundred farmers who are destitute, who are somewhere in a bed, in a hospital or an old age home, and who have nothing, who don't know how they will pay their medical bills at the end of this month, how they will afford their medicine. Now, because of the number of these farmers, the Zimbabwean government agreed to make what they call an interim relief payment.
You think about the story again when somebody shit in the toilet and you're trying to correct them and they get upset, then you say you're sorry. Then they say, yeah, F you can't talk to me like this. Next time you need to stand up and say sorry. But you knew you were correct. That's exactly what's happening in Zimbabwe. Crazy stuff. Now, for context, for some of you who don't know, Zimbabwe is right here. This is the country. It's not so beautiful anymore. So I can't say beautiful place, lovely people. Lovely people, maybe, yes. The place is not as beautiful as anymore. Okay? Many, many years ago, Zimbabwe was colonized by the British. Like many African nations, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, and more. British took Zimbabwe. And they made a bunch of farmers. Okay, so many British people that were in Zimbabwe were farmers. And in order for you to be a farmer, you need land. So they took land by force, grabbing land from black people, forcing them to work on the land. But were they productive? Yes, they were very productive. They produced potato, tomato, whatever you want to call it. Everything, chicken, duck, produced in the farms. Zimbabweans were just consumers and workers. Now, this guy here, Robert Mugabe.
So, Blair, keep your England and let me keep my Zimbabwe.
Great fighter of freedom for Zimbabwe. He was a leader. His objective initially was great. He wanted to take some of the land from the white people and give to the black people. It was called land reform. Obviously, this is our country. It's Zimbabwe.
Occupied the land illegally. They seized the land from our people. Look. And therefore, the process of reform, land reform, involved their handing.
How come the majority of beautiful land, workable land, fertile land are within the hands of white people from Britain? Now, these white people work in Zimbabwe, they make money, and they go bank in Britain. He says to them, how are you bank in Britain, but you're supposed to be Zimbabwe? Yes, we are Zimbabwe. You born here? Yes, I'm born here. So why are you sending money to Britain? You're not putting money into the Zimbabwean banks. You know what? If you can't do this, then you're not Zimbabwean. Oh, matter of fact, we need to take some of the land from you guys and allocate to the people of Zimbabwe. He gave the land to the Zimbabweans. The idea was good. Practically, it was difficult because a lot of Zimbabweans didn't know how to run land. It's like they're just giving you a land. You don't know what to do with it. Even though you may have some experience, but you don't quite know how to manage it. And unfortunately, many black people, like many black people do, when you give them $100 to do a work, they will spend $85 for themselves, buying shoes, eating food, whatever, and use the rest, maybe 15%, to try work the land. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out. I'm not saying other people don't do it, but other people will use 95% in the job and maybe spend 5%. Black people generally don't do that. And that was one of the reasons. On top of that, Zimbabwe was hit with many, many sanctions. So they couldn't trade, they couldn't buy things from external, they couldn't export things. It was very difficult. And America and Britain justified that move by saying that white people were being tortured in Zimbabwe. They took their land by force. It was unacceptable. So after the land was taken from white people, many of them crossed into South Africa, hoping to get a better life. Yes, they were accepted by many other white people living in South Africa and Zambia, because there are white people that are farmers living in South Africa. The white people of Zimbabwe went into South Africa. Sometimes later, the people of Zimbabwe crossed into South Africa following the white people they just chased. Obviously, you see, so you gotta be prepared. Now, things became very difficult. And as we know right now, Zimbabweans are begging for the white people they kicked out to come back. Watch this.
Because people from Zimbabwe, they're struggling to get their jobs. There's no jobs, there's no money. Maybe the farm gonna beg, they could get money, jobs.
The white farmers are supposed to be compensated for the work they did on the farm because they upgraded them, they built dams.
Like you said, they were creating jobs and things have changed now. Who's gonna do it? Watch this.
We cannot just take things that we did not work for and make it our own, even though the land is our own. So, but those were past indifferences.
What they did before, which is wrong, which are these white people complaining for? If they can retain it and they do new agreements of which will benefit us as Zimbabweans, because now our economy is down, and then even the whites, they give us sanction of which our lives is like, that's why we're traded from Zimbabwe to each and every country trying to find our green pastures, of which now is hard.
Now, Edison Mnangagwa, sorry I just murdered his name, was a very close person to former President Robert Mugabe. But he overthrew him just before he died. Overthrew him, he wanted to take power, now he got the power. Now, America and Britain initially said that the reason why they sanctioned Zimbabwe was because Mugabe was a terrorist or a dictator, whatever they call it. Mugabe passed on, but Zimbabwe was still under sanctions. Wasn't working. So initially, Mnangagwa tried to lean toward Russia, okay? He created a bond with Russia, trying to talk to Russia. Russia even offered Zimbabwe a couple of helicopters for ambulance purpose, and stuff like that. It was great. Beautiful move. However, it just feels like not pleasing the United States of America is difficult for Zimbabwe. In order to clean up, Zimbabwe has decided to pay white people that used to own the farm. Even though the white people's ancestors took the farm by force from black people in Zimbabwe. So the only way to open up to the market is to please Americans and Donald Trump right now. And this is why Zimbabwe's leaders are doing this. Now, on another move, recently Donald Trump issued a 16% tariff on Zimbabwe. In return, Zimbabwe say, America, you can bring your stuff for free. You don't need to pay any tax. Unlike other nations where they were issued tax, they will retaliate. Zimbabwe say, actually, you can bring your stuff for free, trying to please Donald Trump. Is this the right move for Zimbabwe? Now, the question mark is, should Zimbabwe had offered a compensation to the white farmers that had lost their land? Number 2, is the land really the white farmers' land? Can they claim it? Number 3, if the land is not theirs, the improvement made on the land, does it deserve to be compensated? Let me know how you feel about that. The Zimbabwean government justified the move, saying that the reason why we are paying the farmers is not the land that we're paying. We're only paying the improvement they had made on the land we have taken back. Like I said, over 80% of white people that have been offered money from Zimbabwe have refused the money. They say it's not enough. What's going to happen? Can Africa learn to live with Africa by themselves? That's a big question mark here. I think this moment should be a moment of thinking, of realizing how imprisoned many African nations are. We still are prisoners. We don't understand. I think people get acquainted with cell phones and devices and tools, and you think you're free. You can travel. You're not very much free, because if economies in countries will collapse in Africa, if Africans cannot move forward by themselves without thumbs up from the United States of America, if everybody is to shake, if they have to pay people they said were not within their rights to please America, if even the move toward Russia did not help Zimbabwe, then I think we are very deep into the pit of slavery. Let me know how you feel about that. On a good note, fellas, we have some good news from where? From Nigeria! Yeah, Nigeria! Yes, good news from Nigeria. It's not just Boko Haram and all the herdsmen unaliving Christians and all the corruption and Netflix stealing money. It's not just some good things from Nigeria. Now, listen to this. A court in Nigeria has ordered the club to compensate the family of a soccer player. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria has found the Nigerian soccer league NFF negligent of the death of Chinime Martins, who was unalive in March 2020. Chinime Martins, who played for Nasarawa United, was unalive corrupting during a Nigerian professional football league match in which there was insufficient medical services. Insufficient medical services. That means there was no service medical that was there to save his life. The court ruling stated that it was reprehensible that Martins was allowed to play without a complete medical test, without the provision of adequate medical facilities at the stadium. And they have ordered the club to compensate Martins' family. Congratulations. Yes, they must compensate the family. So this young man was 25 years old, soccer player. Unfortunately, he fell on the ground and was, because the club did not have facilities, They did not have medical instrument to protect this boy. And also, they did not do adequate tests before having to play. His brother said, I hope that the appropriate medical provision are put in place for Nigerian footballers going forward so that no family has to endure the pain we have suffered. A report published by NFF website last year highlighted that Nasarawa United had neither medical doctor and that there were no functional ambulance at the stadium at the time of the incident. My brother, in Nigeria, you fund 1,000 ambulance for 223,000 people. Okay, the population of Nigeria is 223 million people. There's one ambulance for 200, not 1,000. One ambulance for 223,000 people. Obviously, there's no ambulance in the stadium. At least we'd expect the stadium to have ambulance. Like, come on. Moreover, Martins never underwent an echocardiogram at the start of each of his 3 seasons in the club. This is crazy, fellas. An echocardiogram is crucial for soccer players. Okay? If you're a professional soccer player, an echocardiogram test is a standard part of medical screening, especially during transfers, contracts, or when joining an elite club or national team. So what's there to know about echocardiogram? An echocardiogram is a scan of the heart. They use it to check in large heart chambers, which is common in endurance athletes. They use it also to check abnormal heart rhythm and congenital issues. It takes only 20 minutes, fellas. Like 20 minutes to do this test, which is very, very crucial. Obviously, they're going to check your hypertrophy. So that's as per regulation. FIFA or UFAA, you need to do this test to make sure that you're fine. And it's very sad. You never did the test in 3 seasons. Takes 20 minutes, no test. And when he fell on the ground while playing soccer, there was no medical. I'm just glad that the family is getting compensated. And as much as it's difficult, it doesn't bring him back. But let's hope. Nigerians are rich, right? They usually, must pay him $10 million. Pay the family. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You know, when I do that, you gotta clap your hand with me because this is a good time to come together, brothers. This is a good time. I love you. You know I love you, you know. Thank you very much for stopping. You stop because you love me, right? You love me. I mean, you can get information from a lot of people. Plenty of platforms. I know that they're not as good as ours, but you come here first because you love me. I know. It took you some time to love me because you were like trying to figure out, this guy, what is he on about? You know, it sounds cocky, but then funny, but humorous, provocative, but he tells the truth because he digs deep. And he's just like my cousin, right? Yeah, I love you too. My name is Zack. Your first time, welcome to the club. We appreciate you, okay? We see you from all over the place. Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Africa, Namibia, Malawi, Ghana, Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria, you name it. Wagwan me boss, United States of America, the UK, the Caribbean, St. Lucia, Tobago, Trinidad. I see you. Thank you. We're talking about Namibia. Here's Namibia. Beautiful place, lovely people. The president is a lady. But before we talk about this lady, who is very strong, let's go back to America. This is the United States of America. Well, in the United States of America, there's something very new happening right now. Okay? They're going to revoke visas for students for minor issues. Well, it's happening already. Many visas are being revoked.
If you come to this country as a student, we expect you to go to class and study and get a degree. If you come here to like vandalize a library, take over a campus and do all kinds of crazy things, you know, we're going to get rid of these people and we're going to continue to do it. So when we identify lunatics like these, we take away their student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa. The press covers student visas like there's some sort of birthright. No, a student visa is like me inviting you into my home. If you come into my home and put all kinds of crap on my couch, I'm going to kick you out of my house. And so, you know, that's what we're doing with our country, thanks to the president.
In other words, if you do something stupid, that's very simple, that could, you know, in other times just be looked over. No, my brother, you're going to be sent home. First example, look at this lady, okay? She's from Nigeria, 26 years old, African student, living in the United States of America for 4 years. Well, she'd been residing legally, and after completing a master's degree in mechanical engineering, she landed a job. Great stuff, with an American company, and worked there for 2 years. Okay, and the visa was allowed. Obviously, you study in America, you get a degree, you look like a good person, they get you a job, you get a visa. Okay, well, she received a phone call saying that her visa was revoked. The visa was revoked mean no more work permit, so she cannot, number one, have a job, number two, stay in America because the visa has been revoked. Now, she asked herself why. She was cracking her head trying to figure out what was the reason. I mean, just think about it. You go to school in a foreign country that you like, because I know a lot of Nigerians love America, many Africans for that matter. You do good, you become an engineer, you get a job from a company, you're legal. Surely, you're an engineer, you're making some real money. Then all of a sudden they call you and say, sorry, madam, it's over. All that project you had in your village to build a mansion, it's over. You need to go back to the village. Well, there are many engineers in Nigeria, they don't necessarily have a beautiful life because there are no opportunities in Nigeria, even for engineers. How do you feel? Your heart is broken, right? Now she's trying to figure out why. Why me? What's happening? Then she remembered that in 2024, she had a car accident, okay? And she had to pay an $80 fine because her driver's license had expired, you know, and she has a few speeding tickets. And she was sentenced to civics for a minor offense, but the offense was expurged from a record. So the offense was expurged from a record, but she had a situation with a car where she had an accident with no driver's license because the driver's license had expired. What do you say about that? Does that deserve for you being expelled from a country? I don't know. That's really relative. You know, if I'm your brother, I say, no, why? Why are they doing this to you? This is unfair and stuff like that. Well, if you're the judge, well, depend on the law, my brother. You can't go to other people's country and do crime. I'm sorry. You can't start calling them racist when they have ground to stand on. Why was you driving without the driver's license again? Oh, number two, it was expired. So it's not like you forgot it at home. It was expired. You didn't go and renew it. So you intentionally did that. I mean, you're an engineer. Surely you know if you don't calculate appropriately, that building is going to break. So you should calculate appropriately, knowing that my driver's license is expiring in 6 weeks. I should get it right now already, right? That's negligent. I don't like that, Masoud. I'm sorry. I don't like it. My father never liked that. He was very adamant about it. You must make sure your documents are correct. You fix them on time. You do things appropriately, or you get the hell out of my house. You're going to go to church, or you get the hell out of my house. You're going to go to school, or you get the hell out of my house. It's as simple as that. Now, if somebody doesn't like you, whether they like you or not, you must make sure you don't give them window to use that not liking you against you. This is not the only story. There are many of them. There's another story, you know, but I'm not going to narrate here. A comment from Matthew Thompson, an immigration lawyer with 30 years of experience, said that this is unprecedented. It's truly chaotic. They're being ordered to leave the country for traffic violations and for presenting a false ID, a student under 21 trying to buy a beer. So you're under 21, you're trying to buy a beer with a false ID. In the US, apparently you can't buy a beer when you're under 21 years old. And if they catch you with that, they send you back to your country. So this guy says, for extremely minor things, students are arrested and sent back to their country. So my brother, if you have a nephew or you have a brother, a sister, little baby, or whatever, speak to them, tell them to behave like normal people, because don't go to other people doing crime and call them racist, because that is not racism, my brother. That is you acting like a monkey in other people's country, and then you want to call them racist. Are they racist? Well, we don't know. But in this situation specifically, you were wrong. I'm sorry. Should they send people to their country? Well, depends on them, because it's their country. Why don't you like your country and go fix your own country? Make it better. How about you push away that God that's been there for 25 years? I'm just saying, and this is not specific to Nigeria. Most African people are going through this. Now we're going to Namibia. Yay! Namibia, fellas. So Namibia is expelling 500 US American citizens who have been staying illegally in the country. Congratulations, Robert. Why are we clapping hands? Yeah, I mean, we're clapping hands not because we're happy they're expelling Americans. We're clapping hands because an African country can apply the very same laws the very same law and the very same rules as America. I mean, a lot of people perceive America as a big brother because, I mean, we grew up watching these videos of Superman and Batman. They're all Americans, so we like what America do. So if America is expelling people, let us expel people too, so we can be equal. You know, we're learning for our big brother. How about that? Now, the policy change has happened with a brand new president. Here she is. Beautiful lady. She's in her 70s, I believe. Very strong. If you thought ladies were all weak, you lying to yourself. Are you talking about strong black woman? Well, this is strong black woman. She's president. She's extremely strong, but she's been very submissive to her husband. So it's not about bashing your man and saying, I'm strong. I'm strong. No, strong is about structure, family oriented, one husband, the father of all of her children. Okay, I'm not getting into that. Let's get back on track. Anyway, now, beside the 500 people being expelled, a significant policy shift has happened in Namibia. What is it? A visa requirement for most of first world countries. How is that normal? Because first world countries used to come to Namibia with no visas. We're looking here at the United States of America and the UK and 31 other first world countries. Okay, so the decision was taken in Parliament in 2024, and obviously it's taking effect or took effect on April 1st, on the first day that our mama here, we call ladies in Africa mama when they could be your mother, you know, even sometimes when they're not even like your mother's age, you call them mama out of respect. Okay, Mama Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa. She took office on 25th of March, I believe, 2025. Now the law is there. Basically, Namibian citizens could go to some countries without the visa. They could go to the UK and I believe Ireland and Canada. Since sometimes all of these countries have cancelled that. They say, no, you have to have a visa if you're Namibian. And Namibia say, okay, I open my door to everybody to come. You're not opening your door to me? I'm sorry. So every country that's not reciprocating our open door policy also need a visa. Is that correct or not? In 2023, UK revoked visa-free access for Namibian passport holders. Now this is a reciprocity from Namibia. Now travel from this list of countries will now need a visa to come to Namibia. Armenia, Australia, Austria, Azerbaijan. My brother, it is hot in here. I'm sweating big time. Belarus, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Liechtenstein, I don't even know how you pronounce that, Luxembourg, Moldova, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, United Kingdom, United States of America, Uzbekistan. Yeah, so we're not going to be here looking at you, begging you while you chasing us or while you asking us for visas. We have some pride. Have some pride, my brother. Stop crying. Go back to your country and fix it. Or at least go back to the next African country and behave like a human being. And you know what I mean? Well, many African countries today still allow many Europeans and American countries to access their country visa-free. South Africa is one of them. Unfortunately for South Africans, you cannot go to France with no visa. You cannot go to Belgium with no visa. But they can go to South Africa visa-free. Why does South Africa live it that way? Question mark. Namibia is not about that life. It's reciprocity. And 500 people are lining up right now to be put in a cargo plane and sent back to the country with the military. No. There's no military stuff, but they've been sent back. All right, fella, let me know how you feel about this. Is that young lady from Nigeria right? I mean, could be a girl from anywhere. She could be from Botswana. She could be from Tanzania. Do you complain when you go to some other people's country and you do things and then they say you must leave? I mean, you already know they don't want you. So make it easy, you know? Pretend. At least pretend. If you can't pretend, then go back home. Crazy stuff. Fellas, South African Special Envoy. Yeah, you remember we just spoke about the South African Special Envoy a couple of days ago. The South African Special Envoy is already under scrutiny. Apparently, he said some things back in the past. You must remember one thing. Internet never forget. It doesn't matter what you say in the past. It's gonna come out. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. Pick up my coffee. Yeah, just before we go, just write, tell me where you are. I want to know where you're watching us from. Just write it. Yeah, how long have you been watching us for and which city are you in the world? Very much appreciated. Okay, now you want to know about Africa, you're at the right place. This is where you want to be. Yeah. This is family. My name is Zack. I know we don't know each other, but you watch this video till the end, we're going to love each other. And you're going to be coming back here every single day. I salute you and I thank everybody that comes here 3 times a day. I appreciate you. Who is this now? I don't know, but I'm giving you time. They can wait. Thank you so much for coming back, and I'll see you, and I will never drop you. Okay, I might drop you once in a while, but not very often. I'll try as much as I possibly can to give you what you come for, and always quality. You know that. For the people that watch us on private, people that have joined the private sector, private group, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your contribution. We're going to have our live this weekend. We're going to give you more precision, and we're going to have a phone number where we can talk to each other and communicate during the live. If you want to be part of that group, you can click on this button right here. It says join. You can join the group. You're very welcome. Okay, so we are in South Africa. Here's a map. Here's a South African map. You cannot pretend that everybody knows where South Africa is. This is South Africa right here. Okay, South Africa's special envoy to the United States of America is already under scrutiny for calling U.S. President Donald Trump racist, homophobic, narcissistic, right-winger. And this happened in 2020. Jonas Mbisi, sorry, I just murdered that right now. A former deputy finance minister was appointed on Monday by President Cyril Ramaphosa as a representative to Washington, tasked with rebuilding South Africa's deteriorating relationship with the United States of America under Trump. So Mr. Jonas was appointed as replacement to Ibrahim Rasool. Ibrahim Rasool, for those who don't know, was the South African ambassador that was chased from America. Yeah, America just kicked away. Trump don't play. They just kicked out the ambassador from South Africa for making a comment. This is the comment he made.
The supremacist assault on incumbency, we see it as a response, not simply to a supremacist instinct, but to very clear data that shows great demographic shifts in the USA, in which the voting electorate in the USA is projected to become 48% white. We're engaging the lawmakers and we're putting in deposits so that when fear subsides of the White House, we have planted the alternative view.
So basically the man says Trump's external policy is kind of not straight. And Marco Rubio sees the opportunity to kick him out. So you can get out of here. You're anti-American, you're anti-Christian, you're they said a lot of things. Now, South Africa didn't want to hit back because it feels like America of Trump is looking for opportunities to ostracize South Africa. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to sanction and create more problems. And it's going to be a, snowball effect. And the South Africans, as you can see, are using a lot of maturity. They don't want to go toe-to-toe with America. And what they've done in this time, they have not sent another ambassador, but they have sent a special envoy to avoid diplomatic scrutiny and procedures. Jonas Mbisi is a representative. Now, the goal with him was to rebuild the relationship between South Africa and the US. But already things are going south, my brother. So what has he done, my brother? What has this man done? The new South African envoy's speech criticizing Trump in his first term was delivered in November 8th, 2020. My man. Internet, never forget. You must be very careful. That's why I'm telling you, America will start scrutinizing your social media. If you make a funny comment, they say it's threats to national security. You're not getting a visa, my brother. You're not getting a visa. If you say something against the international policy of Trump, you're not getting a visa. I hope they don't take your money. They don't take your money before they tell you that you don't get the visa, at least. So, on November 8, 2020, 5 days after the election of Joe Biden, his comment went viral on the internet. This is what he said. He said, right now, the US is undergoing a watershed moment, with Biden the certain winner in the presidential race against the racist, homophobic Donald Trump. How we got to this situation where a narcissistic right-winger took charge of the world's greatest economy and military powerhouse is something that we need to ponder over. It is something that all democracy needs to ponder over. This is what the man said. My brother, they're going to go find things about you. So you better be very, very careful. Jonas was delivering South Africa's annual Hamed Katrada lecture, where public figures are invited to give a speech for the foundation of Katagra, one of the anti-apartheid activists put on trial by the white minority government in 1960 and imprisoned alongside Nelson Mandela. So the guy was speaking, about counter-apartheid, okay, saying, let's praise this man for playing a major role during apartheid. And in the meantime, he took a jab on Trump because he had lost the election. That's why you must be very careful. When somebody goes down, don't talk too much. When somebody's going through the most, don't talk too much because you don't know. You have no idea. Because how do you reverse that? How do you say, oh no, I was just joking. I didn't mean what I said. How are you going to be successful? I know it's politics, but how are you going to be successful? Because you already know how you're feeling. I mean, you look back, United States of America was considering some of the people to be sent to South Africa as potential ambassador. South Africa scrutinized those people. Some of them were born in South Africa. They went to America. Some of them were writing speech for politicians that everybody perceived as racist. So they scrutinized those Americans. And they were never ambassador to South Africa. Now, Americans are doing the same. They're scrutinizing everybody, you're preparing for them. Now, South Africa is going through the most right now. And I think this subject we're gonna ponder into. We're gonna get into depth of this situation. South Africa is trying very hard to normalize things between South Africa and the United States of America. But this is going to be very difficult. The US hit Lesotho. This is Lesotho right here. It's an enclave country within South African borders. Beautiful place, very high in mountains, with some of the purest water in Africa. But the country was hit with 50% tariff, meaning everything they export to America will be plus 50% its worth. So if you produce something worth $100, it can only be sold at $150. And that was very difficult for the country. Now, they hit this country. Why? Because Elon Musk went to the country, well, that's one of the reasons, and asked for a license for Starlink to be installed in the country. Now, Lesotho has a policy that says for every company that comes from outside that want to operate in Lesotho, they have to give 30% equity, or they have to sell 30% of the company to local black people to empower them. That's the rule. That's the policy. Now, Elon Musk refused to do that because he wanted 100% of his company, but to operate freely in the country. Well, when they hit this country with tax, 50%, they were trying to scramble, trying to find how we resolve this. The first thing they've done, they have given in this 30% thing. Now they've told Elon Musk, you can come, because we're not going to survive. Well, South Africa has a very similar policy. They had a very similar situation with Elon Musk because he came to South Africa looking to get a license for Starlink. South Africa submitted the very same procedure, saying, sir, if you want to operate in our country, 30% equity value of your company has to be owned by black people in this country. Why? Because we suffered during apartheid until 1994. Yeah, Elon Musk was born in South Africa, left, went to the United States of America. So he understands. His parents profited. Most white people profited from apartheid. So he doesn't want to give up. Okay, some people think he wants to bring the old mentality. Well, he's been putting the pressure. He is the one that's claimed that many white people in South Africa are being mistreated. Now, the pressure on South Africa right now is not for nothing. There are many avenues. Number one, they want to gain business in Africa. Number two, they want to punish South Africa for the country you don't name, for taking, South Africa took them to court. Number three, they need to regain control. They need equality. What kind of equality? Well, there is a political party in South Africa that is predominantly white.
Alliance. Shoot to kill. Come on, sir.
And how do you balance things? You need to give them more leverage because the majority of population is black. So if Trump screams and is angry and he blocks, at least one of the best ways to get the country back on track is to allow the white people in South Africa to have a little more things to say, a little more leverage. Then we're going to be okay with you. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. We're going to talk about many things. There's a senator in America that introduced a law. Yeah, they want to sanction South Africa. We're going to talk about that later. Yeah, things are going really bad. They say South Africa has brazenly abandoned its relationship with the United States of America to align with China, Russia, and Iran, and terrorist organizations that they should be punished. We're going to talk about this on the next. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. South African envoy to the United States of America made comments on Donald Trump, calling him racist, homophobic, narcissistic, a right winger. In a speech in 2020, nobody's safe anymore. India had a massive joint naval exercise, military exercise with African nations. Crazy stuff. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are very much appreciated. Hey, I love you. No, I don't love you. I don't love you. I don't know you like that. But I like you. I like you a lot. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is family. I'm always going to put you on track with what's happening in Africa. You know that. You want to know anything about Africa, motherland, you are at the right place. Thank you very much again. Today we're talking about India, right? This is India. Well, India is having a massive naval exercise in Africa. A 6-day drill, fellas. 6 days. 6-day drill with New Delhi's ambition to project maritime clout and boost influence against rival China. So, it's not because India want to be friends with Africa or wants to help Africa. It's because India wants to boost its clout against biggest rival China. Okay, who's participating in this naval exercise? The exercise is taking place in Tanzania. But with who? With Kenya, Mozambique, Seychelles, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Madagascar, Mauritius, and South Africa. What is this exercise all about? So the exercise includes activities such as counter-piracy exercise, ship control simulation, search and rescue operation, and communication crisis management.
This again is a first of its kind exercise for the Indian Navy and for India. It will be co-hosted by the Indian Navy and the Tanzania People Defence Force, and will also witness participation from 10 African countries from the east coast of Africa. As on date, we are likely to have 7 ships from our African partners and friends, with observers also joining in. So, AKM is a Sanskrit word, means unity, and it aims to bring regional countries together towards a common goal of maritime security and growth in the region, because in the end we are all united through the oceans.
So, Indians come to Africa, okay, to boost relationship with Africans. And how are they doing it? They want to do it through naval exercise. So, Indian naval soldiers came to Dar es Salaam to do exercise with all these African nations. And why is India fit to do this? Because India has played a major role in counter-piracy operation, helping project the country as a regional security power. Okay, so I think this is very interesting to look at this. It's nice to have friends, diverse friends, not just America or Europe. Okay, India comes on board as well. But you need to be a bit cautious on which direction you're going. It looks like the majority of African nations are turning away from Western nations, but they're turning the face to Eastern nations. It's beginning to sound a bit like we're running away from one colonizer, going to the next colonizer. Why do I say this? Because clearly India is not in Africa because India loves Africa. India has come to Africa to counter the influence of China. Because China and India, they don't quite get along very much. They have border issues. Look at this. These are Chinese soldiers fighting against Indian soldiers against the border. So obviously, it's all about power. It's same as United States of America and Russia. So it's not about the African people's interest. And because I know African people love free things, free gift, they're probably expecting some gift from India, like a cheap ship or a cheap boat or some guns or some stuff like that. Absolutely crazy. Now, they're talking about piracy. The goal is to combat piracy. Let's talk about piracy a little bit. What kind of piracy we hear about? We hear about piracy in this zone, just next to Somalia. You see this red here? Well, 30% of world trade passes this place. 30%, that's a lot. So people go by from China and India to come to Europe. They have to go past Somalia. Now, the problem is what? Many of these boats and ships are being attacked. By who? By what they call pirates. Right? Well, you need to bombard these pirates and whatever that is. That's what they say. There's another side of the story that they don't tell you. Who are these pirates from Somalia? I mean, you've seen these movies, right? This movie with this ugly-looking Somalian pirates. Now, he's not ugly, he's just angry. You see this movie, right? It's scary. Hollywood can give you the impression that the oppressed person is actually the evil person, and the oppressor is the nice person. Well, how did we get to piracy? How do we see so many pirates right now? The reason why we see so many pirates right now is because you see that water next to Somalia? That water is for Somalia. Somalians used to go to that water because the majority of them are fishermen, used to go and fish in that water. That's where they got the fish, they sold the fish, they made the money out of that water so they can send their children to school, have food to eat, buy clothes and stuff. What has occurred? What has occurred is many international ships and fishermen have come stealing fish from these waters. Yes, they will put their machines and they will take everything, even the baby fish. You're not supposed to take the baby fish, right? They will take everything and destroy everything. And these Somalians cannot get the fish they used to get anymore to buy food, to take care of their wives and stuff like that. Now, alternatively, they had to go very deep inside the ocean to get some relevant fish. And sometimes these fishermen from China, from Europe, they will just station their ships like 10 kilometers apart. You can see them. You can see them from the horizon, but you can't do anything about it. That is how most of these Somalians became pirates, because they were angry. They were angered by the unfairness. You cannot come into a country and fish like this. And you're probably asking yourself, why isn't the government of Somalia doing anything about it? But the government of Somalia is not very stable right now. They have many internal issues. They cannot deal with the internal issue, Al-Shabaab, and deal with the ships that are stealing fish in the country. That is the main reason, at least, why we have pirates in that area. Now, do you think the solution is to bring the Indian naval so they can fight these Somalians? Let me know how you feel about that. Again, don't believe everything you watch on Hollywood. Like Malcolm X said, the media is such a powerful tool. It can make you believe that the oppressed person is the enemy and the oppressor is the nice person. And now we're going to Tanzania. We were still in Tanzania anyway. Tanzania is a beautiful place. I love it. I've been there a couple of times. I enjoyed every single time I was in Tanzania. I had lots of fun. Beautiful people, great souls, lovely heart, very friendly, amazing food. Amazing food. Probably the best food I've had in Africa. No doubt about it, because of the fusion of the Arabic and the Indians and the African flavors. It's just crazy and insane. You need to go experience that. You want to come to Africa? I would definitely ask you to go check Tanzania. Some of the loveliest people I've seen in the continent. Now, in Tanzania, we have a problem because the main opposition party, Chadema, has been effectively banned from participating in the general election this year.
We give a strict warning. We will not tolerate any political party which is inciting statements of hate against the police force or the government, or showing any sign to breach the peace of this country, as we are heading towards a general election.
This is crazy because we don't know Tanzania like that. Okay, so the independent national election disqualified Chadema after the party refusal to sign a mandatory code of conduct required by all political parties to participate in the election.
There will be no second chance. Any party that hasn't signed today will not be allowed to take part in the general election or any other elections for the next 5 years.
So before you participate in the election, you have to sign this all mandatory code of conduct. Now, why did they refuse to sign? Because this specific political party, Chadema, believe that things are not clear. They are not 100% transparent. They need an amendment to some of the stuff so they can move forward. Now, I can understand there might be disagreement, but burying somebody or blocking a political party from being part of the election is never a good sign for a country that many people look up to. I mean, we look up to Tanzania for many, many times. I went to Tanzania the first time right during COVID, you know, whilst the rest of the world was shut down and people were confined in their houses. They couldn't get out, where people were forced to take V. Tanzania was one of the only countries, some of the few countries where people were actually free. Remember Magufuli, great president, lovely person. He said, I don't believe in this scam.
In all this government, no one wears a mask, including me. It proves that there is no coronavirus, and God loves this nation.
You've asked us to do the test. Well, we've taken a sample of what you call positive of. They've taken sample from animals, from a duck, from a rabbit. They took mucus from a papaya or pawpaw. They took mucus from a fish. They all tested positive to COVID. Yeah. How can a fish test positive to COVID? A rabbit snot test positive to COVID? And the mucus from the papaya, you see those liquid, the white liquid of papaya testing positive to COVID. He said, no, it doesn't make sense. Your formula is crazy. I mean, we're not scientific, but we're not stupid either. No, we're not vaccinating people like that. We're not going to do that.
The ministry has no plans to receive vaccines for COVID-19, which are already in use in other countries.
Sorry, people can still go to work. People still go to the club and have fun. Yeah, and you know, at that specific time, a lot of Europeans come flooding into Tanzania. I was in Tanzania at that time. I had a ball, one of the most amazing time ever. Then a few days later, he passed.
We lost our leader, President of the Republic of Tanzania, the Honourable Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, who parted this life from heart complications in hospital in Dar es Salaam.
It was very, very sad, and I was very scared because I felt like maybe civil war will start in Tanzania. Then somebody told me, no, usijali, hapa tuna tatizo. No, don't worry, Tanzanians have no tatizo, have no problems. Don't worry about that. That's Swahili for you fellas. So it's very sad to see Magufuli done a tremendous job for Tanzania, protecting his people. Magufuli refused to have celebrating independence, like the Day of Freedom. We don't need that. He said, take that money, let's build roads. You know, he refused the expenditure of the government. He took the money to refurbish hospitals. He did a tremendous job. Whilst the country was dirty, he went in the street to clean the country by himself. Unlike most African presidents who say, okay, you guys go clean the country, go clean the town. He went to the town. He used his hands to pick up the trash. Great man. But obviously they took him out. Same as the president of Burundi. I forgot his name. He also refused to administer that stuff on his people. He said, we will not believe this nonsense you bring in here during that time. We will not do that to people. We will not confine people. I mean, if they were wrong, why even we heard the millions of Tanzania unalive because they did not respect the restriction? You know what I'm saying? Now, both presidents were unalive in mysterious manner. Crazy stuff. Sorry guys, the microphone is probably dead. I'm sure you hear me from here. We have a brand new president and many people expected many things from her. And when she came into power, she reversed some of the policy of Magufuli, including a policy where the previous president before Magufuli had sold the port of Tanzania to the Chinese for 99 years for $3 billion. That port that belonged to Tanzania was sold to the Chinese for 99 years by the previous president. And Magufuli said whoever signed this deal was either drunk or absolutely crazy.
Tumelipa compensation kule Kigamboni ya ardhi, wawekezaji wanakuja kujenga wa China kwa bandari. Kitu cha ajabu sana duniani hakijawahi kufanyika. Cha kipumbavu. Bilioni 115 waliolipwa kule Bagamoyo. Kama wapo wakazi wa Bagamoyo, inawezekana hawafiki 20. Watu ni wa mjini humu na wala hera hizo zimepotea. Na wawekezaji hao wanakuja na masharti ya ajabu, ni ya kichaa tu anayeweza kuyakubali.
He reversed that deal, gave the land back to Tanzania. At that time, that part of the land was within the hand of Chinese, and no Tanzanian were right to go to that side of the land. And those Chinese were not forced to pay tax or anything.
Ndio masharti. Wanataka ukishawapa pale, huruhusiwi hata kwenda kucollect revenue. TRA mnaisema yuko hapa. Hairuhusiwi kukanyagwa pale wakishafanya investment. Wanatakiwa uwape guarantee ya kwanza bila kuwauliza miaka 33. Lakini ndio nawaeleza sasa. Lakini unatakiwa uwape lease tofauti na sheria za nchi for 99 years. Na huruhusiwi hata kwenda kumuuliza atakaye kwenda kuwekeza pale. Na wao wawe na mandate ya kuichukua hiyo eneo kama ardhi yao. Lakini mnatakiwa mlipe compensation ya kazi watakayoifanya ya kuchimba ile bandari. Masharti mengi ya ajabu. Kwa hiyo najaribu kuzungumza haya ili kusudi sisi wa Tanzania tumechezewa mno miaka mingi. We are supposed to change.
So it's like part of your land belongs to the Chinese now because they're going to refurbish it. So you're giving the Chinese a part of your land to refurbish it, but you're giving them the right to have the land for 99 years for $3 billion. Magufuli reversed that. Now apparently this brand new president is coming to power. She has reversed what Magufuli reversed, and she is the one, at least a political party, have now set aside this Chadema. I mean, I understand we may have crazy politicians, okay? As much as I may not agree with you, I should fight for your right to express yourself as a political party, as an opposition. That's how you show transparency. You show transparency by allowing everybody to operate in spite of their thought. Now, if you are a winner, you will always win. And now we're moving to Mali. Here's Mali, fellas. Beautiful place, lovely people. You already know about Mali. They're doing tremendous thing. In Mali, they've started a program with solar power, okay? A solar power plant in a rural corner of Mali have joyfilled the village. The village of 3,000 people now have access to electricity. They never had access to electricity. How are they generating electricity? Through solar power. Congratulations, Peter Makofi. Why? Africa's hot, fellas. We already have a major, biggest sun ever. What do you need? The electricity comes from a mini grid of dozens of panels and storage battery operated with relight. A Madagascar rural electrification startup. So this startup comes from Madagascar. It's great. Look at Madagascar. Okay, you look at Mali. Look at where it came from here. The technology comes from this place all the way to Mali. That's how Africans need to operate. I'm sorry, you don't need India to come into Africa to teach you how to fight in the sea. You need other Africans to come together. Okay, maybe you need India for a little bit. Okay, so you can learn from them. Then you can develop. Then you say goodbye, India. You need independence, autonomy. We are tired of being tied by whether it's Chinese or American. As long as it's a win-win business, yes. But we want to operate for ourselves. Now, Malians are doing it. Now, unfortunately, only 53% of Malian population have access to electricity by 2021, and this has to change. Now, studies show that Mali need about $1.3 billion to have electricity for everybody, and they can't access World Bank. They cannot access IMF. Why? Because they are not a democratic country. You know what a democratic country is? Democratic means you accept France, you accept Europe, you accept the West. If you don't accept them, you want to run yourself and for your people, even if you're doing good things, you're not a democratic country. So they cannot access any of those funding. How is Mali doing about this? Well, the Malian government has recognized the need for electricity, and this year it has approved raising money from telephone mobile companies, okay, and alcohol sales. So where the money is going to come from? From telephone mobile companies and alcohol sales. So telephone companies announced a 10% levies on telephone and internet credits top up, and a 1% levy on mobile money cash withdrawal. I don't know how to explain this. Okay, so basically, for every phone call, there's a percentage that's going to go into a bank account to allow the Malian government to generate enough money to have electricity for everybody. They don't need the Western nations anymore. So every credit top up for pay as you go. A lot of Africans, except for South Africa, a lot of Africans lack pay as you go. You know what I mean? So there's a levy for that goes to the government. And also for mobile money. Okay, mobile money is how we Africans sometimes send money to another friend, to another cousin, to somebody else, somebody in a village. You don't need to access bank because not all Africans have access to bank accounts, but they can use their cell phones as a bank account to send money to somebody. So you charge your cell phone with money, but then you send the money to somebody else's cell phone number and he can withdraw the money. Now for every withdrawal, 1% goes to the national bank to allow the Malian government to have enough money to build plants for electricity for everybody. Is this beautiful or not? No need for China, no need for India, no need for America. Let me know how you feel about this. Again, India launches the biggest naval drill exercise with African nations, including Kenya, Tanzania, Seychelles, Madagascar, Eritrea, Djibouti, Comoros, Mozambique. Is this a good thing for Africa? Mali is going to bring in money together from the people to have enough electricity for everybody. Fellas, Burkina Faso, beautiful place, lovely people. Very hot. It's extremely hot. I'm not exaggerating. Whether you're an African, it is hot for African. I'm telling you. You're going to be like this. Especially if you live in Southern Hemisphere, like Namibia, South Africa. My brother, you're going to sweat your tears off. But it's beautiful. People are also very warm, very kind. Ladies are very respectful. It's amazing. Also, in Burkina Faso, people marry like polygamous marriages. It's frequent. People don't ask questions like, why do you want to have another wife? They don't ask that. Like, they're actually very friendly, you know, women to women. That's my rival. That's my rival, my sister rival. Yeah, very friendly. They love each other. They support one another. They are the best friends. That's Burkina Faso. I know this is a culture in many African countries. Many African countries are losing it. Well, don't look at me funny when I talk about this, because when y'all talk about men that like other men, nobody makes a noise. You say everybody has the choice, right? You say people can choose what they like, right? So you can choose what you like. You can allow them to do the things. But when African men want to have 2, 3, 4, you have an issue with that? Use the same energy for the African people. Anyway, now Burkina Faso has just approved a decree, okay, to build a massive abattoir in the country. Congratulations, Pika Makofi. Yeah, baby, Pika Makofi. An abattoir, you know what an abattoir is? Abattoir is a slaughterhouse where you slaughter animals. Bah, bah. Most African countries don't have abattoir. Like, we used to slaughter goat and sheep and cows. We would slaughter a cow, In some cultures, you know, in Africa, if you have never slaughtered a cow, you're not a man yet. It means you don't have a strong heart. You're still softy. Because some of you have never even slaughtered a chicken. Yeah. I know Americans are watching me like, this guy's crazy. You slaughtered? Oh my God. Well, we wake up with chickens. Like, in the morning, the best feeling ever. Like the best alarm you can wish for. You know, it's 4 minutes past 17. Yeah. You gotta experience Africa. Like, not urban Africa. Go to Africa. And it's just sad because it feels like very slowly, even that beautiful side of Africa is being too modernized. They should leave it that way. They should modernize one side of Africa and leave every country one side where, and I don't think modernity should be too much. I mean, it should be more of the unmodernized African and a little bit of a modernized. So people that want to spend a lot of money can go and hug each other. Anyway, Burkina Faso, they are building a massive abattoir, okay? The Minister of Agriculture and the delegates have come together to accept a decree. You know, a decree is just basically a decision made by the president, agree with the parliament, and they're going to build a massive abattoir. Why is this important? This is very important because Burkina Faso imports various types of meat, you know, including chicken, cattle, pigs, sheep meat. They have one of the best chicken I've ever had. What do they call it? Poulet à l'ail. Poulet is chicken. Poulet à l'ail. Garlic chicken in English. My brother. Yeah. So they burn it, or how do you call it? They roast it on fire, but then they keep applying this condiment. Anyway, lovely people. So Burkina Faso imports a lot of meat from different countries, such as Ivory Coast, Turkey, India, Indonesia, and France. I mean, I can understand Ivory Coast is a brother country. It's okay. We need business for our brothers. But India, my friend, why do you import meat from India? Indonesia, you know, France, Turkey, no. It's okay if Burkina Faso send things to them, export it to them, but they don't. So I think it's great. So they're going to invest a lot of money, millions of dollars. They're looking at $2.3 million to improve quality, create jobs, reduce the export of live animals. And the first phase, focusing on slaughterhouse unit, is expected to be completed within 6 months. Congratulations, Ibrahim Traoré. This man is doing some real work, man. He's not wasting anybody's time. He's young, he's strong, he's not looking for girls, he's not interested. Not looking to build big house, not interested, doesn't have a big stomach. I mean, just think about it. A president with 6-pack. Have you ever heard of that, my brother? 6-pack president. Oh, God. Some people used to say unsuccessful people have 6-pack. Successful people, like hardworking people, have big stomach. It's a lie. Look at this guy. Handsome, young, strong, muscled up. Okay, not muscled up, but toned up. Lovely. You gotta take care of yourself as a man. You know what I mean? You need to go to the gym. You know, have some balls, some testosterone in your blood. Big stomach, no hair. Why? Okay, I'm also losing hair, but I'm going to Turkey, so I'm taking you with me. I need to get. I'm going to Turkey. You get brand new hair, so I can start a music career. Anyway, the facility includes a poultry farm, a feed manufacturing unit with a capacity of 75 tons per day, and a high-tech slaughterhouse capable of processing 250 poultry per hour. Plans are underway to expand facility with additional $5.7 million investment. So the facilities that are not there are going to be built. The facility that exists already are going to be improved. Congratulations. Now guess who's interested? Well, African Bank is interested to bring an investment of $45.5 million. African Bank looks to do it. Well, African Bank is owned by some African countries. Also, America is really bunch on. Yeah. So should Burkina Faso accept the $45 million coming from African Bank? The thing about banks is, when you're not doing okay, they don't offer you anything. You know that? When you have no money in your bank account, the bank offers you nothing. The bank only begins to offer you things when they see activity in your account. Okay, so they're offering them $45 million for what? Because they see that they're going to the right way. Congratulations, Burkina Faso. And now we're going to Zimbabwe. Here is Zimbabwe, my friend. This is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, my brother, Zimbabwe's going through the most. It's been quite some time. It's very difficult. Well, a luxury train accident in Zimbabwe involved multiple injuries. On Friday, the South African operated Rovos rail train struck a freight train near Ngwanda while en route to Victoria Falls. The incident disrupted a luxury rail tour carrying 47 international passengers. So Rovos Rail is a South African company, obviously, that takes people multiple places in Southern Africa. I mean, if you want to ride, it's a beautiful train. It's luxurious. You know, you can even take your girlfriend in and ask her to marry you. But I know you don't intend to do that. You just don't want to waste her time. You just want to waste her time. You know, you think giving her some money here and there will suffice. But yeah, if she's got brains, at some point she said, this guy's wasting my time. Anyway, beautiful place. It takes people across Southern Africa. There are many places to visit, including Victoria Falls. This is Victoria Falls. Look how beautiful this place is. Some people even go to that. You see that pool in Victoria Falls? Look how it's scary on the other side. I would never do that. I heard stories of people falling over, but yeah, anyway. So people go visit there. Many tourists go visit. And unfortunately, this time around, using this very expensive, luxurious train, they went head on against a cargo. Crazy stuff. So now they want to do investigations to find out what went wrong. Well, my brother, we already know what went wrong. There's no services, you know. Yeah. Do a better job. When last did you hear a train crash in Europe? How many trains are over there? Well, officials have not yet confirmed the cause of the Zimbabwean collision. Investigation remains ongoing, and both train operators have yet to provide comprehensive statement. Rovos Rail offers luxury rail journey through Africa. Its Victoria route covers 1,400 kilometers in 3 to 4 nights from Pretoria to Bulawayo. So you enter in Pretoria in South Africa and you exit in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Beautiful experience. Founded in 1989, Rovos promotes its train as a bespoke safari, operating across South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania. This incident in Zimbabwe has prompted concern about railway safety across regional networks. The problem with Africans, you don't do services. You know, Africans buy a nice car. They will take it to service when the car starts smoking. I'm just telling you the truth. In many African countries, you don't need to show service book when you're selling your car. Except some countries, including South Africa, where before you sell a car, you perhaps, in most cases, if the buyer is a serious person, they're going to ask you for a service book. Show me how you service the car. How many times did you follow the rules? If you don't, they're not going to buy. But in many African countries, they don't. People just look at the car, it looks nice. Huh? They will take the car to the mechanic when it starts going. Before that, they don't do that. You don't need to do that. Well, it's the same mentality people are taking into railroad. Well, fortunately, nobody was unalived. There were many injured people, but hey, I hope this doesn't happen again. Because I was planning to go to do the safari myself. This is very discouraging. Burkina Faso building a plant, a processing plant, a poultry plant, and many other things to get the meat going. I don't know why they don't just want to slaughter with the knives. You know, just get some manhood. They are being offered $45 million from the African Bank, which is not 100% African. United States of America has shares in it, UK has shares in it, and Africans. Should they accept it or not? In Zimbabwe, a train collision. Bad. 47 international tourists. I don't know how you're going to feel about it. I mean, imagine you come to Africa for the first time, then you get into a train accident. Will you ever come back to Africa? God bless. Let me know how you feel about this. Great pleasure. You have a group, a private group. If you're interested, please go join us. It's personal, it's different, it's a view of various countries. We go on tours, we go on documentaries. It's amazing. God bless.